Welcome to New Horizons. This is another tutorial for this is Paint and Draw 2 for your Obey style painting project. For this class, you only need to complete that project. That is your only requirement. But before you do all of that, you make sure you finish your color wheel, tints and tones, and any other activity Mr. Martinez requests of you before you start there. The first thing you're going to be doing is finding a color scheme. A color scheme is really important. There's just so many of them, and I don't want you to work with just basic colors. A basic color would be yellow. Let me type in yellow, blue, red color scheme. This is basic. Anyone can do this. Every kid in elementary and middle school are working with basic colors. Something that's a little less basic is this. Now you're adding grays and other colors to it. So what I want to do is I want you to find a unique color scheme. So let's say you really like teal. Type in teal color scheme. And then work with that color scheme until you find the right 3 to 4 color combination. Here's a pretty decent color combination here, especially if you just kind of block out the black. So find a color scheme that works for you, that you're like, yeah, I would wear those colors if I put them on clothes, right? If I put them on clothes. You do not want to overdo it though. So find a color scheme. Sorry about the sounds there. Of 3 to 4 colors that you might want to use in painting. Secondly, I say 4 colors because that should be your maximum, but you could also add white or black to your color scheme because those are not colors. Black is a shade, white is the absence of color. Therefore, you can use them in your color scheme. So you can have up to 6 different paints that you'll be using. Some people might want to wait until they've found the right thing to paint before they choose their color scheme. That's okay too. So let's move on to that. What you're going to be doing is opening up a Google tab. When you're on Google, you're going to be searching for celebrity. A celebrity is anyone of popular culture. So it could be a musician, a singer, an artist, some kind of performer, actor, athlete. Anybody that basically people know of. So even if it's kind of an obscure celebrity, that's okay too. So someone that not everyone knows, but maybe a certain subculture people know, that's perfectly fine. The reason why we're choosing celebrity is because of this guy. All right, so the project was designed after pop art, named after popular art. And this guy's the one that kind of created Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol was an eccentric artist from Pennsylvania, and his philosophy in art was do the bare minimum, or at least make it look like it's the bare minimum to create an image that's still considered artistry. So he would paint something like this. You know, a can of Campbell's soup is just a can of Campbell's soup. When you look at it in your cabinet, you don't stare at the label for hours saying, wow, that is a piece of art. But if you paint it 20 feet tall, and the line is there, and you focus on all of the little details and designs that some designer, some artist created for the can company, and it's just presented to you as art, something you cannot eat, then you have to stop and just appreciate what you're looking at. And in a sense, it can be art. It just really depends on how you present it. So, yeah, so Andy Warhol painted all sorts of people like Chairman Mao, Michael Jackson, James Dean. That's actually not his painting. He painted all sorts of celebrities like Prince and John Lennon. That's also not his painting. But you get the point. He painted lots of celebrities, and there have been a lot of copycats since. After Andy Warhol, there have been quite a few other pop artists like Roy Lichtenstein. Let me just kind of cover him. It's important that you know who that is. Roy Lichtenstein kind of did the same idea. He focused on pop culture and comic strips. So his focus was, if you buy a newspaper or a comic book, you just look at the artwork, and once you're done with it, that's it. You have no kind of, nowhere in your life do you stop and say, hey, each one of these frames in a graphic novel or comic strip is a work of art. It's compositionally sound, the colors are great, look at this dynamic perspective, etc. So Roy Lichtenstein made you stop and appreciate the artistry in comic strips. Lastly, we have Obey. You might recognize this guy. Obey is now very popular, but 10 years ago he was just another artist trying to make it. He's a skateboarder slash graphic designer who turned big. So Shepard Fairey became famous because of his Obama painting. Let me just show you what that looks like if you don't know what that looks like. It's this painting. Whether you are for Obama's policies or not, you have to admit that this painting right here sold for $50,000 and now is officially part of the Smithsonian Museum, which is a really big museum. What we want to focus on is the simplicity of it and the color scheme that Obey chose for this painting. Red, white, and blue for a reason. Obama was running for a re-election, so that all makes sense. So as you're painting your celebrity, maybe think of how you're gonna present this, right? Here's Obey himself posing right next to his Hope painting. All right, so what you're gonna be doing is brainstorming celebrity. I want you to think of like 2 or 3, maybe because the first one might be hard to find a picture of, and so you have different options. Your first one, excuse me. Pardon me a minute. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. Sorry you had to hear that. Alright, I'm ready to go. So you are going to be looking for celebrity. I'm going to type in I'm going to go old school. What if you wanted to paint a picture of Roberto Duran, who is a famous boxer from the 70s and 80s, What if you chose something like this? Make sure you're working with a photograph. Make sure it's high quality. I'm just going to look around to see if I actually would want to paint a picture of Roberto Duran. So far, I'm not really liking what I'm seeing. Nah, I'm not going to do this. So what about Chavo del Ocho? Just keep in mind, this is just a demo. You can choose whoever you want. It can be any pop star, any pop icon. For me, Chavo was very iconic. Just kind of a fun character. Definitely grew up on watching old school shows. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to copy that picture. I don't know if you saw that. Let me go back. Right click, copy image. Next thing you do is open up a Word document. Click on that. Now you're going to paste it. Okay, next thing you'll do is double click it. Make sure all color is gone. So desaturate your picture by clicking on, so notice I double clicked on the picture. These items should show up. Click on color and click on the first one. That's desaturizing it. You could also mess with the contrast. If you click corrections, you can make your drawing or photograph a little bit more intense. So for all intents and purposes, I'm going to click on that one there. Now, this is the final step, which is go to Artistic Effects, scroll all the way down to Artistic Effect Options, click on that, and over on the right side of the screen, or maybe it's a pop-up on your laptop, this is presented in different ways. This is going to show up here. Click on this little box, and click the very bottom left. This should create the cutout effect that you are going to want. Increase the number of shades to 3 or 4. I'm going to do 3. Wait, maybe 4. Now I'm going to change the number of transparency to about 25 to 30%. Let's see, that's 30%. Let me change it to 35 to see what happens. Hey, that's not bad right there, but let me change it to 25 to see what happens. So transparency will give you rigidness. So like all of these little scratches right here on this part of the lip, you see a little crazy shape there. If you increase that, the little shape starts going away. Like it just kind of starts blending away. So transparency may be a good thing. It may be a bad thing. Let's go to 5 layers to see what happens when you do 5 layers. 5 layers means you get black and 4 other layers in between black and white. So usually fewer layers excuse me, means a little less work, but it also means a little less detail. So I think 4 is perfect, and I think that's good. It looks like Chavo del Ocho there. What you'd be doing now is going to File, go to print, and you print that out. Alright, and that's how you create the cutout effect to create an Obey-like painting. Alright, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial.